So the number one question we should all be asking of Donald Trump and his people is, where's the money? That's the main question. Where's the money? Because Donald Trump keeps saying all the time, we're getting trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars and we're all so rich and everything's great. But then when you actually look for official numbers, this is what we have right now. Jobs report canceled. Inflation report canceled. GDP report, you guessed it, canceled. And that's a new one. I didn't know about the GDP situation that's going to be canceled that just came out. And remember, Trump's going to tell you that we're all rich and we're getting trillions of dollars. This is from the Wall Street Journal. U.S. to skip publication of initial third quarter GDP estimate. So we don't know where we're going to be. You can make guesses on this stuff. I'll just say this probably doesn't look good. And when you look at the Fox News and their plan, they say, let's try not to wear slippers and pajamas as we come to the airport. I guess so. I'd rather have GDP numbers myself. I'd rather have employment numbers. I'd rather know what's going on with inflation. But if you think that, pajamas and slippers, not wearing them, I guess, is the reason why we're failing, maybe it'll work. Maybe. Listen to Sean Duffy mention this.
But I think we have to think about, how do we do a better job? How do we, maintain maybe some of that frustration we have as we travel this Thanksgiving season? Maybe we should say please and thank you to our pilots and to our flight attendants. I think, again, I call this just maybe dressing with some respect. Whether it's a pair of jeans and a decent shirt, I would encourage people to maybe dress a little better, which encourages us to maybe behave a little better. Let's try not to wear slippers and pajamas as we come to the airport. I think that's positive.
I can't even believe we're having this conversation. And full disclosure, I actually really like slippers on the plane, so I'll leave it at that. and when I go, when you go to the airport, you'll see people bring all kinds of stuff and wear all kinds of things. That's the least of my concerns. I'd rather have government data. I'd actually be able to afford slippers and pajamas would be good as well. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there like, man, do you remember when Fox News, and this is a true story, they were just telling us the other day that we shouldn't buy slippers for grandma this year, for reals. And I guess that's our economic plan. Don't wear slippers and pajamas. Okay, great. This is also what we're doing, is we're giving pardons to turkeys. This is at the one of the hotels here. There's the turkeys. And if you remember, we voted on what the name of, I think it's like Waddle and Gobble or something like that. And they're the turkeys getting shipped up there. There's Gobble. Yeah, there's a close-up of Gobble. And I know it doesn't feel real, but no, I guess this is real. We're at a hotel, and there they are in their hotel room. And guys, I have a sense of humor. I mean, I guess the White House does that. But I don't know what to make of this stuff, because it's like you're showing me turkeys at one moment, right? Like literally turkeys. And then you're talking about pajamas and slippers in another moment. It's like, how you take this stuff for reals? And then when you look at when they do try to talk a little bit seriously about GDP, listen to what Hassett has to say about it.
We have to get this government open. I mean, the fact is Goldman Sachs, they have a top economic team, and they're estimating that we've already knocked about 1.5% off of GDP. I think that number is probably low if we keep going even a couple more weeks, because there's going to be a massive amount of air disruption, especially around the holidays. And, one of these things, every now and then when we're talking economics, you and I, we talk about seasonal adjustments and things like that. But the fact is that Thanksgiving time is one of the hottest times of the year for the economy. It's, Black Friday and all that kind of stuff. Right. And if people aren't traveling at that moment, then we really could be looking at a negative quarter for the fourth quarter.
So that actually might be some truth here. That actually might be some truth. So every now and then they let it sneak out, because it's, it's hard to lie nonstop 24/7, and it does take a toll on your soul. But negative GDP, there could be some truth to that. It's interesting because if you put that together with the whole slippers and pajama thing, maybe from their point of view is, we want you to be buying, new clothes. Maybe that's what sort of the hidden message there, to try to keep you shopping. But, the pushback is going to be, but guys, look at the economy, look at unemployment. And then they'll be like, oh, unemployment's great. And then they don't show any actual numbers. This is also what's going on. They were supposed to roll out some sort of new healthcare plan. And you got to see this for yourself on Trump's rollout thing.
Morning, President Trump is planning to unveil a new health care proposal. And at this point, we're still waiting to know exactly what's in it. But we're told it could include a temporary extension of the Enhanced Affordable Care Act subsidies, which are due to expire at the end of the year. They were at the center of the government shutdown. However, the subsidies could come with some fresh guardrails that could include new income limits and a requirement that everyone pay some form of a premium. Now, we should note that if the subsidies do expire, millions of Americans are expected to see their premiums more than double next year. Zach Cooper is joining us now. He's a professor of health policy at Yale University. Zach, thanks for being here. As I noted, we are very much still waiting for specifics here. I'm sorry, this has actually been, sorry, Zach, we're getting breaking news while I'm talking to you. I have learned that the White House has postponed its expected unveiling of this new health care proposal. It was expected to be unveiled today. We'll learn more, hopefully, about that in the coming moments. But again, this is postponed, but we can talk about the ideas here.
So they were actually going to try to talk about Trump's supposed, plan, and then they postponed said thing, so it probably doesn't even exist. That just shows you the, craziness of what's going on. This also just came out today from the Wall Street Journal. We have some more inside information on the supposed plan that may or may not have been written by the Russians on the Ukraine war peace deal, right? It says here, exclusive, how a Kremlin insider influenced Trump's peace plan for Ukraine. I read through the report, and basically I think they met for 3 days in Miami. There's the Trump people meeting with the Russian people, and they're hanging out at one of the Trump people's house. So I don't know if they're sitting around drinking drinks or whatever. I don't know that, but I'll just say this. I wouldn't be shocked, and I read through this stuff. I wouldn't be shocked, though, if from Russia's point of view, it's like, hey, let's just throw everything to the Trumps because we're going to get everything we want as long as we, give Trump a little bit of, kickbacks or whatever. This is sort of how this game is played. And then the reason why these reports become important, and this is for anything that Trump does, because it always exposes that this is all a grift and it's not in the interest of the American people. It's obvious. Everything today is just a clown show. And then when you look at what their other parts of their plan is, they're going to be pushing AI. Listen to this from Trump talking about the AI stuff, one of Trump's people.
With this pen today, President Trump signed an historic mission. This is reminiscent of the Manhattan Project that brought World War II to an early and successful end, similar to the Apollo projects that put a man on the moon in 1969. This is an all-in national effort to take the power of AI and pair it with the 40,000 outstanding scientists and engineers at our national labs to use the world's largest supercomputers to advance innovation. And
if you read the Chiron there, it says Genesis mission, I guess we're calling this, Trump calls for AI expansion, right? And this is all about replacing you. And then they're going to claim that it's going to make your life better. This has actually been a wedge issue, which we talked about yesterday too, where some of his MAGA base are like, wait. I'd actually like to have a job. I don't want robots to replace me. And the Trump people, they keep pushing this stuff. I'm showing you guys, I've been mentioning it a long time, and I don't know why MAGA hasn't, well, I'll just say MAGA's a bit slow sometimes, but I think now they're catching on, but I don't know why they didn't catch on earlier, because it was obvious, right? When you look at Trump's plan, like when he's talking about growth, it's, oh, hey, I'm going to pump all this AI stuff. We just talked about this yesterday. Half of the cheap GDP numbers could be from AI investment, which could all be essentially a sham. So they're hiding us the GDP numbers. The report canceled. They're talking about possible negative GDP if retail sales come in low. And I think things are going to get really ugly. I'm just telling you the truth on this stuff. And we'll know. We'll know when stores come out, and you'll see it. They'll either say people are shopping or not. And we'll know soon as this is a holiday week. And I was surprised, actually, though, that they were signing more stuff in AI because it seemed like there was a lot of pushback from the Republicans recently, just last couple of days, as we talked about, because they've been following this. Basically, Trump he's like to the DOJ saying, hey, we're going to sue any state that tries to regulate AI. And now they're evidently pushing it today. So there's that. It's everything's a clown show nonstop. Now, Mandami did have some success with Trump when he met with the Oval Office, and he talks about that today. Have a listen to this.
waiting, and in front of me are like all these different coffee table books, and one of them is UFC at the White House.
Oh yeah, he's bringing it there, right?
I had no idea, but I was
in the rose
flipping through that.
Are you gonna go?
No.
Are you? How did you not laugh? We were all dying, and I'm like, my boy Zoran was like just straight face.
Honestly, I was just thinking about New York City.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like the whole time I was trying to think about the difference between if you have a White House that is working towards an affordability agenda or one that's making it harder to live in the city.
Yeah.
That's kind of what kept.
The president sees your popularity. He loves the ratings. Ton of reporters. Handsome. I think he thought handsome. Did you have eyes up here, Mr. President? You were elected because you were trusted on your policies for affordability. Do you think he's maybe a little bit trying to like swagger Jack a little bit?
There are a lot of places of disagreement. One of the things that was
I didn't even know that was a thing, swagger jacking, but it is kind of funny because it just shows that that's how easily Trump is manipulated, right? Trump's all interested in the TV show and how can I put money in his pocket, how can, can I get great photo ops, etc. But it worked for Mondani, and I guess that's the formula going forward. Maybe you have to show up to the UFC events. Who knows? Mondani's saying he's not going to go. I do also want to give you an update on the Doge situation. So this is one of Elon Musk's bot / Doji pumper accounts, or Musk pumping account. They're claiming that Doge still exists and that the Reuters thing that we talked about just yesterday is fake news. That's what they're claiming. I really don't know. This just came out just a few minutes ago. I'm just showing you what they're saying. They're claiming it still exists. And this is a tweet out from Doge. They say, as usual, this is fake news from Reuters. President Trump was just given a mandate by the American people to modernize the federal government and reduce waste, fraud, and abuse. Just last week, Doge terminated 78 wasteful contracts. That's what they're saying. We'll be back in a few days with our regularly scheduled Friday update. So we'll see. I'll go with Reuters on this, and then we'll see what else Reuters has to say about the stuff. But the basic gist was, I think the actual statement was like, it's not centralized anymore, and then some of the personnel have been moved around. So maybe the Doge account still exists, maybe the social media person is still there, but other than that, who knows? You never know with these people, and it's crazy because they say they're trying to fight corruption, yet you'll get something like this. This was in the Financial Times today. So this is Zhao Changpeng, which is basically CZ, which a lot of people refer to him as. He was the dude behind Binance, and essentially it came out that maybe was facilitating payments to Hamas, right? So of course he was, right? It's all crypto stuff. Those are the people that Trump pardons. That's the kind of stuff that you have to deal with on a daily basis. And then you got this, and I just want to point this stuff out because this is who the Trump people are. This is Benny Johnson. He says, this is it. This is what we're fighting for. Home ownership, marriage, kids playing in the yard, white picket fences, rocking chairs on the porch, American flag flying proudly, family dinners, safe neighborhoods, a future for your children, okay? And you go down here, and also says America should own homes, work the jobs, should live the dream. Now, these are the kind of things that they'll put out. And for those of you who study history, you kind of get what Benny Johnson's up to here, right? They want to roll things back basically to the 1950s kind of era. Essentially what this image shows is what a white family in the suburbs. That's essentially the America that they dream about, and they wish everyone was like that. And I don't know what else to say other than not everyone necessarily wants to live in the 1950s, Leave It to Beaver sitcom. and for some people that's their dream, I guess, to go back to, was it 75 years ago now? But I think we can move forward as a people. So that's my thoughts on this. I'd like to hear yours, and I'll catch you all in the next video.